13-1. Okay, do you have 13-1?
Yeah, I have 14-1 twice.
Okay, okay, well, just put one aside and I'll collect it later. Okay, do you guys remember your in-class quiz from last week? Michael, what are you doing? Oh, you're speaking.
It was a good idea. I'm recording.
Okay, yeah,
Forward to me.
record it.
I'll put it on Facebook or
Email it
something.
to me.
Okay,
How often can that be?
what was the quiz question that more than half of you missed? There are 3 activities, right, in the statement of cash flows. What are they? Operating.
Investment.
Okay, this was what I asked you. Okay, this is what I asked you.
Financial? Oh, no. Oh,
Now,
wrong.
one of them does not belong. And what Sal, who got it wrong, said is I needed to put which one does not, in caps, belong.
Cash.
Which one, yes.
Gosh.
Cash activities. Remember how I told you might see that again? Okay, so take a look at the first page of this handout, because I also might ask you what types of things go in each category. So under operating activities, it's all the cash inflows and outflows, or payments and receipts, to be in operations. Revenue, selling goods and services, interest that we received, dividends, paying our suppliers, paying our employees, paying the government taxes, paying our creditors' interest, and any other expenses to be in operations. That comes out of this. Investing activities has buying and selling property, plant, land, and equipment. Why do we do that? To invest. Buying and selling investments. Purchasing plant, property, and equipment. Purchasing investments. Making loans to another entity. All of those things are investments. Even buying assets down here, plant, property, and equipment, land, buildings, those go in this category. So all revenue, just look at it this way, all revenue and expenses, the income statement is here. All long-term assets and investments is here. Okay, investments and assets. And then when we do stock offerings, when we buy and sell stock, treasury stock, that's financing the company. So it's right here. Selling common stock, issuing debt, like bonds. Remember I said companies can issue bonds, and any loans, there's notes. We do this to finance them to get money, and then we have to pay them back. So 2 possible questions here. The first one is, which one of these activities doesn't belong? I already asked you that. The second one is, I might give you, which activity would a company's cash flow statement be affected if they sold stock? Which one is if they sell stock? Financing. Okay. Which cash flow activity would be impacted if they booked their sales revenue?
Operating?
Operate. Which one would be affected when they pay their rent? Pay their rent.
Operating?
Operating. Okay, all expenses to be in business is operating. So look at this first page. But I gave you this because this is the author's PowerPoint for the statement of cash flows too, breaking it down into the categories they use. So this is helpful for the online exam. Okay, the next page, I just gave you an example to remind you what it looks like. Okay, so here's operating activities is number 1, is the first activity, then investing, then financing. However, now, so that's what we did in 290, and we stopped there. Do you guys all remember that? We stopped, let me erase this one now. Okay, hopefully, Mike, you got the picture.
Oh, it's recording still.
Okay, so.
I'm taking a video.
Remember we had cash for operating, we had cash for investing, and we had cash for financing. And then we had total cash. Do you guys remember that? Well, I told you that 291 is more depth, more detail than what we did in 290. Now there's one more line item here. Non-cash investing and financing. So now on the statement of cash flows for the new class, 291, we have non-cash investments and financing activities. Non-cash meaning this, and it's reported at the very bottom of the cash flow statement. Remember how last month, or last week when we talked about convertible stock, and I said sometimes that's a good thing because the company isn't issuing any stock, but if you buy convertible bonds, they can be converted over to stock at your option. That's a non-cash transaction. So when you buy bonds, which is financing, if the people convert it to stock, they don't pay you. Do you understand that? They don't pay you. You have paper that says it's convertible, so they convert it, which now means that it's a non-cash transaction, but they now own stock instead of the bonds. Another thing that we covered in this class, you can exchange or barter assets. I have some laptops. Ben wants the laptops. He has some fancy hard drives that I want. We just exchange assets. Remember that? When we talked about assets years ago? So, what's that? Non-cash transactions.
Does that apply for beer too, right?
Yes.